This edition of the Twinbill podcast presented by NyynewsTV. Of course, I'm Alex GP and Luca's alongside me for another episode. Just as a reminder, please hit that like button, comment, and subscribe to all that good stuff. Turn on the notification bell so you know when game season is live, you know when a podcast is live like ours or NYYST, or just any live chat. Get to tune in with all of us, get to talk with all of us, and share your thoughts as we share our thoughts with you. Be sure to put some comments in the chat as well. Obviously, this is how we keep going as a podcast. This is how it furthers the time. We're on here longer because of you guys, and we really appreciate it. Also, June 25th is in 24 days, so please sign up, get your tickets. A lot of fun stuff that day, and then 5 stars on Apple Podcast. Luca, how are you doing? Just give us your general first thoughts.
General first thoughts, split series against the Rays, just one last night against the Angels. I really wish we could have taken at least 3 out of 4 against the Rays. I understand, all the second place, we were banged up and stuff, but there were so many brand opportunities for us to score. Like, remember, I think it was the last game where Hicks lined out, and then we eventually ran into a double play on Sunday. And it's just like, I see it as the Rays series is missed opportunities. Yeah, we didn't lose the series, but I don't like a split either, in my opinion.
Yeah, and this is going to be an important series. Obviously we crushed Syndergaard last night, which I was surprised. And unfortunately, me and Luca know we wasted our fucking time last night by going to Staten Island and doing some, it wasn't dumb shit, but it is what it is. We wasted our fucking time last night. Didn't watch the Yankee game. We could have been on game season or something. And we just didn't watch the game. And we're like, you know what? We fucking missed us blowing out Syndergaard. It pains me.
And Montgomery finally getting run support and not giving it up.
Yes, and he got his first win of the season. So unfortunately, fucking missed that. But I did see a couple of highlights. I know Trevino also picked off a runner at first base. I think it was Max Stassi. David McKay, from what I saw, struggled a little bit in the 9th inning, but ended up getting out of it. I mean, we got to talk about the bullpen on a larger scale rather than just one game. Big up Castro. It seems like he did his thing, gave 2 hits, struck out 1, did his thing. Once again, inning pitch. I like the length from Montgomery, though. Total of 7 innings. Let's see. He went to a total of 87 pitches. So that's not even bad. So it seems like, he was getting through innings pretty decently, obviously, with the 1 run in the 7th, being the Regnifo home run. What do you have to say about the pitching side? I once again, I know we didn't watch a lot of the game, but go ahead.
Listen, it's good for, as I said, I'm going to repeat this again. It's good for Jordan Montgomery to get that run support. Finally gives him a lot of confidence. Going 7 is what we really need. It's like, again, rest the bullpen. It's still a little bit banged up. Bullpen, I'm still mixed with. I still have my set of arms that I don't trust. I still have my set of arms that I do trust. Marinaccio on Sunday was awful. Just did not have control. And that was probably the biggest, tattoo that the bullpen got. So I think they pitched really well yesterday. They held up the lead, which is what they're supposed to do. And we'll see what happens. Hopefully players start to come back maybe, but I don't know. Maybe we'll see.
Yeah, so shout out to Zach Brownish in the chat. What's going on? We have about 12 people in the chat, so be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Share this out too. That's very prudent. Share this out. Obviously, get a lot more people here, whether they're general baseball fans or they're just Yankee fans in general. Surprisingly, Aaron Judge is actually the one without a hit yesterday, but he did have an RBI. I'm guessing that was like on a ground out. Matt Carpenter, Mr. W.B. Mason, was 1 for 4 in a home run in right field. Joey Gallo had 2 hits. I mean, he has his good games, he has his bad games, but we're still not very high on him. We'll talk about that on a larger scale once again. We'll talk about trade value and all that stuff. Jose Trevino. And once again, I bring this up. because I just sometimes I almost spilled my water right there. Actually, I did, but it's okay. Um, People are like, oh, well, I miss having an offensive catcher. When the offensive struggles started coming in more and more and all that stuff like that. Well, he's hitting 263 right now, which was way better than him earlier this season. He was hitting the 170s, I believe. I think was that right? 170s.
Yeah, has to be around
there. So I'm not trying to make this narrative that he is an offensive catcher, that he's known for hitting home runs and all this other stuff. I mean, hell, he's got more home runs than Aaron Hicks this year. But with that being said, I like the way he's come around, and I know a lot of people were very fishy about that trade, but the way the starting pitching staff has come around, you can't really disagree with the move at this moment.
Right, I agree.
IKF went 1 for 4. I saw a poll the other day, and maybe it was from one of our team members, and I understand we have a 1-game streak and we're up in the division. Has IKF been the most disappointing offensively in terms of like hitters wise?
I mean, what is he hitting right now, Alex? Can you tell me?
258.
I guess his average should be a little higher. I'm not sure if he's the most disappointing.
I think on the poll it was Gallo, it was Hicks, it was somebody else, and then it was IKF. Because I didn't expect much out of Gallo. I'm sorry.
Well, to be fair, yeah, he struck out a lot, but you didn't expect him to be this bad. He was going to get his walks. He was going to strike out a lot. He was going to hit his homers. He's not even doing the walks and the homers. He's just striking out a lot. And he's, it's the mental side of things. And that's my biggest disappointment. Like, no one's expecting him to be the guy from the Rangers, the Texas Rangers. But there's no reason he should be this bad. He has talent. He's just not putting it together.
Carl in the chat says, we're all the guys that's saying that the Yankees were a 4th place team. I mean, listen, for the most part, I will say I was wrong. I mean, I had them, you can go on my channel and you can see it, had them finishing 4th, but I will say, and listen, in my opinion, because it's me and also other people do it well, I'm going to eat my crow for right now. I'm not going to say we're in the World Series. I'm not going to say all this shit. But the fact that this team has climbed to the top of the division, the fact that the Blue Jays aren't supposed to, or like, I think the Rays are on top of them right now. Then you got
Rays are second.
Then you got Boston, who's their fan base is chanting Yankees suck or fuck the Yankees, whatever it was. In Boston, they're losing to the Reds, and the Reds are horrible. And you want to know a fun fact, and obviously you know this, but I'll say it's the chat. Shouts to Philo as well. I remember seeing you in my chat for one of my videos. I think it was yesterday. The Reds have not won in Boston, and they did yesterday, but the Reds didn't win in Boston since one of the games of the World Series in 1975.
That is serious, are you?
What, you didn't see that in the chat?
In
October 20th.
I might have glanced at it for a sec.
October 22nd, 1975 was the last time before yesterday that the Cincinnati Reds won at Fenway Park.
That's awful. That's awful.
Exactly. And then we got the Orioles
franchise.
And we got the Orioles doing their thing at the bottom of the division. And obviously I proposed this, and we'll see if we can get anybody to join us or whatever. But the Giants actually play the Patriots in Foxborough, and I would have to get a car by this time or do something like that. Giants play the Patriots in Foxborough on August the 11th at 7. Then we start a 3-game series at Fenway. So if I want to get beer thrown at me by Red Sox fans, I could just go to that game, and I could also. But Luca, you could also show up in your Jets jersey.
Yeah, I'll probably get beer thrown at me by Patriots fans.
As for the rest, but just overall cap that off. I mean, once again, we'll see what happens. We'll see what the rest of the season brings. We're only in June, so a lot of things can happen. The Yankees really haven't had a bad streak yet. They've had some adversity. They've faced it well up to this point. I know we obviously lost that, 2 games in Tampa, but hey, listen, you know what? I'm wrong. I'm wrong for right now. I don't want to be right in my prediction at all. I don't want to see a collapse from this team. I root for this team. I invest in this team. That's why we have this show. Obviously, I talked about Matt Carpenter. He's not a long-term answer, but I guess he's the Andrew Velasquez. He's a Tyler Wade for this franchise to go about, I guess. Miguel Andujar, hopefully he's keeping up in terms like hopefully the Yankees keep his opportunities going, because I feel like he should see more playing time in left field. Because obviously we know Stan's on the IL. That's why Gallo's in right and Judge is in center. But Andujar is 1 for 4, and he also is hitting 281 of the season.
Also stole a base yesterday.
Thank you for adding that in. Thoughts on Andujar and the playing time he's been getting?
He's been doing fine. Originally, Alex, I said, you know what? He's not a left fielder. He's better as a DH. He was never a good fielder. Third base was his weakest point. Left field was not much better. And this year he's completely proved me wrong. I was never, dissatisfied with his bat because, he's not a strikeout guy. He's not streaky. He's very contact heavy, especially extra base hits. He's like a doubles guy, in my opinion, how I see it. He gets the ball very hard. And in left field, he's been fine. He's held down the role. He's better than Aaron Hicks. He's been better than Joey Gallo, in my opinion. Gallo is also disappointed as a fielder, in my opinion. So, yeah, Andujar's putting together the pieces, and he's really giving the Yankees a hard time whether to send him down or not. I don't think they should send him down. He's a valuable bench piece that he could rotate in and out.
You think he's been better than Florial?
Honestly, yes.
I know Pete won't like that, but it is what it is. Shouts to my man Tony. I know he's recording a podcast today, I believe, with Jeff Conine. He's actually Jack Clark's brother. From what
Jack Clark from the Yankees, who played in 1988.
Yep, and he's having a bunch of guys on his podcast: Morgan Ensberg, Jeff Bagwell. So there's a lot of pieces there. I actually created his logo and his intro. Long Hard Shepherd says my grandmother is better. We're better than Aaron Hicks. I have a bat somewhere around here. Could swing better than him. It's just he has definitely okay. So Pete admits it. He's been better than Florio.
Would Aaron Hicks be good in men's softball leagues?
No, not even in the New York men's softball leagues, where they start you off with a 1-1 count. Oh my God, that's. Thank you for giving me nightmares. Gleyber Torres was 2 for 4 yesterday. He had an RBI. I believe it was a double. I don't think we didn't talk about him on our Boys in the Big Apple, but do you want to maybe look up his stats now? How do you feel about Gleyber Torres? Is he finally coming along? Was it just, and I understand he had the RBI yesterday, 2 for 4. Are the Rays his new Orioles? What are your thoughts on him? And I understand, it's a little early to really say whether he's the long-term answer at second base, but he's definitely coming around offensively, and he's had more home runs, or at least about the same amount of home runs as he did last year. And that's actually a big improvement because for Gleyber Torres, the type of player he is, I think I will take sometimes hitting in the 240s. Sometimes, yes, the piss poor at bats will piss me off, but 240s, you have a lot of home runs. I would rather that than a Joey Gallo sometimes rather than a Kiner Falefa, but you tell me how you feel on Gleyber Torres.
I think he's, found himself. He's starting to come out of his shell. The last 7 games, he's actually hit 321, then 286 in the last 15. I think that Rays series was a big confidence booster for him. The home runs, the at-bats, the base hits. He's been doing it all, man, and I really appreciate it. I wasn't really high on him to start the year. He started out struggling a little bit, but he's found his groove. And I hope he finally keeps that groove. He's made his errors defensively, which is to be expected. Not everybody's perfect, but I'm not going to sit here and say, he hasn't improved. He has improved from last year. Last year, he was completely abysmal. So was 2020. He's been better this year.
I just want to know who's been better defensively. Is it Torres or is it IKF?
Let me see.
I want to say Torres
All right,
because
fielding.
IKF, I believe, leads the team in errors.
Should I do baseball savant for that?
No, unless you want to piss me off and make me punch my camera.
Let's see. Fielding statistics. So this year, Kiner Falefa has 6 errors. Gleyber Torres has really, he has no errors. I'm sorry, 2. My mistake.
Okay.
2 at
Okay.
second. That's it.
So he had, oh shit, I fucked up my camera. So he has 2 errors, and how many does IKF have?
6.
Okay, so yeah, it's pretty prudent. Well, I should say pretty out there that Gleyber Torres has been a better fielder. Tony says he was surprised by the blowout yesterday. Yes, the Orioles were blown out 10-0 by the Seattle Mariners. I know I think they won the series against what do you call it?
The Red Sox?
The Red Sox. I think they won the series. The Red Sox, it was that big streak for the Red Sox. Then they got tampered. Then they got crushed by the Orioles in a couple of games. Then they lose to the Reds. I'm telling you right now, I know this is more my channel based, but I'll just say it and then we'll move on. I will bust Sox's chops tomorrow if they end up almost losing the series in the Cincinnati Reds. That'd be embarrassing. But with that being said, I gotta go back to the box score, of course. How do you feel about Rizzo this season?
I think he has struggled. I think he has struggled definitely. Sometimes I believe the batting average is an anomaly, but when he is good at bats, he is good at bats. But I think he's, kind of disappointed a little bit towards this half. He started off really hot, and he, remember, he was one of the home run leaders in the American League, and he's just struggled since then. I remember Sunday he swung at a really high pitch for a strikeout. His at bat didn't look too good, so he's a little murky to me right now. I just hope he really finds it.
Yeah, and I think he will find it because he did have that defensive struggle last year in Oakland.
Yeah.
And what was it, like the few errors he had, and he picked it up. Maybe he wasn't, what people thought he would be, but I thought he was better than Joey Gallo.
Yeah.
LeMahieu went 2 for 4 yesterday. Yeah, keep him at leadoff. There's no reason you need anyone else to be leadoff, right? With that being said, take us into the next topic that you want to go into.
Well, I was going to go on the next topic. It's a little bit about Aaron Hicks and Joey Gallo. Obviously, you see what happened with the Alex. If the audience doesn't know, what happened with Dallas Keuchel a couple of days ago?
He got DFA'd by the Chicago White Sox.
And the White Sox obviously owe him a lot of money. But they did what they had to do. That's what I think the Yankees should do with Aaron Hicks and Joey Gallo. Now, how long, Alex, do you think they realistically are going to stick in this lineup? Until the Yankees have a solution, they trade for one? Or is it going to be, we'll cut ties with Gallo and Hicks in the next couple of days, and we'll have Miguel Andujar, Marwin Gonzalez, and Estevan Florial doing placeholder stuff?
I think it's imperative. Here's the thing. Excuse me for that. If you want to go into it, just give me 1 second.
Yeah, I read an article yesterday that I was reading an article yesterday that said, don't expect a big deadline move from the Yankees, but expect like a linear kind of a lateral kind of trade, So what I was reading was, it might be for a lineup regular. So you think it may be Aaron Hicks or Joey Gallo. I don't really realistically know what their trade value is. So I'm going to try to pull up the article right here before Alex gets back.
I'm right here.
Okay. So, Alex, I was telling the audience I was reading an article yesterday, or at least I read a headline of an article. Yankees might trade a lineup regular for a outfielder. So
lineup regular like Gallo?
as I said, I just read the headline.
What's the source?
I'm waiting to pull it up.
Shout outs to Jay Schmeezy and Zwing Class, if I'm saying that correctly. Rizzo was crowding the plate hard as hell yesterday when the bases were loaded. Yeah, I you know what? Yeah, now that I think about it, I think like some at bats he's very, very close to the plate. And that's how like certain like I don't know if he does better against lefties or righties. I think possibly lefties, maybe. I'll Luca, if you will. I don't know when you're done, look up the splits. But lefty anyway, they'll try to jam you up. So lefties will jam you up, righties will go inside. It's just tougher against lefties strategically. But obviously, it's weird. It's weird with Rizzo. Hopefully, I'm so confident that he will turn it around. Like he's one of those players that I believe in. He's one of the players that I like coming over last year. But I think he'll actually eventually pick it up. Shout outs to Chris Game. What's going on? Nice win last night. Looking to get another W today. Is Ohtani's not pitching this series, is he?
Apparently not.
Because our buddy Brian, who was at the game yesterday, said that they pulled him out. Like, and then then again, also too, I looked at it a couple of days in advance. He is pitching tomorrow at 7:05 against Jameson Tyon. It is Nestor Cortez and Reed Detmers. I believe that's tonight on FS1, no less. So it's not the regular. Yes, it's on FS1. I think. I wonder who's going to be doing that call. I think it's going to be Joe Davis, maybe. I think personally speaking, when he's paired up with John Smoltz, he's terrible. When it's anything else, Joe Davis is the guy. Yeah. That's just me. Hopefully he gets more of a promotion now that Joe Buck is gone. But you were looking up something in relation to the outfield?
Yeah, I think it was from Clappish. Let me see the Bob Clappish latest article. Because that's who wrote the Yankees article. He was talking about, he really hit hard on Joey Gallo and Aaron Hicks. He said the most realistic option is to demote Hicks to part-time late inning defensive substitution. First of all, I don't even know if he's a positive in the late innings. I really don't. So that's that. He says that would mean turning Aaron Judge into the center fielder permanently, a move the Yankees prefer not to make. But the trade deadline is 2 months off. What's that?
I don't know that I would do that permanently. In a stadium like Yankee Stadium, of course. Make him the permanent center fielder. But the problem is, like, there's no seats in center field, so nobody can play catch with him. Anyway, but if you have a bigger stadium, like, I'm not saying he doesn't have the arm. I don't know. I'm just not – because – do you kind of get the vibe, even though I'm not explaining it for thoroughly?
No, I don't.
Do you get the vibe? You don't get the vibe? Because I feel like, yeah, he's got the arm strength.
But the angle of the ball is not going to be the same.
No, like, let's just say you go to Comerica. That's big center field. You go to Minute Maid, big center field. So I'm not saying he can't handle it. I'm just wondering, like, who are you going to put in right field if there's a big right field? If it's bigger than Yankee Stadium, bigger than Fenway Park, is it going to be Stanton, his arm strength? Is it going to be Gallo, who's not necessarily been great as a fielder? A lot of questions, but you know what? I think you solve that by trading for 2 outfielders. I know they won't do it, but we'll go over some outfield options. You keep going with your article.
Bob Clappish says that the Yankees should release Gallo outright. There is no value for him on the trade market. What do you say about that?
Respectfully disagree. I do want to get to
something you might have to do, though. I have to figure out, money, because the Rangers are paying like a certain part of his salary, right?
I want to say they're paying all of it. They might. I mean, listen, someone can correct me. I'm wrong. Shout out to Potato. What's going on, man? Haven't seen you in a while. Live in the Czech Republic, coming in here, so appreciate it. Long Hard Shepherd says, I thought he was going game 3. If you're talking about Ohtani, yeah, but it's Cortez and Detmers tonight, and I'll be on game season, and then tomorrow it's Tyon and Ohtani. So we'll see what that looks like. What was I going to say? Jay says last year we put up 7 runs on Ohtani, and oh, I remember that. That was so fun to watch. Judge has a better arm than Trout. I mean, with all the injuries, you could probably say that, but we'll see what happens. Trout missed one in center field yesterday. I think that was Rizzo actually tripled, if I'm not mistaken. I think that was Rizzo. I want to say he was 1 for 4, and that one was that triple because he missed it, and then Rizzo went to, yeah, he tripled. So yeah, maybe he's got some wear and tear on him. And it's crazy though, because before yesterday, Mike Trout did not play Yankee Stadium for 4 years.
You can factor in COVID. You can also factor in his injury history. That's what I said.
I mean, COVID was the 1 year, but the injury history is big. Hopefully he gets back to form, but hopefully, as I say on Boys in Big Apple a lot, they should just have an award for Shohei Ohtani. Just like an every year participation award because he hits and pitches. Because unfortunately, and obviously the beat writers will disagree. I could give two flying shits. You have so many ball players. Like last year was Vlad. This year, Judge could be robbed of MVP. Andujar was robbed of the well, if you want to say robbed. If you disagree, disagree. But Andujar in 2018, he could have gotten Rookie of the Year. There's a couple other MVP candidates this year. Trout's another one that could win MVP.
I remember ESPN. I remember discussing this on here. ESPN had a Guerrero Jr. as a candidate for MVP, but he struggled badly.
I don't think he's done well this year, though. Take a look at that. Let's check that out.
No. It's true. You don't even have to look at the stats. Brian was telling us on Monday on Voice in the Big Apple, he has this big fantasy lineup, and they're all sucking. Jesse Winker, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. So
what can I say? What was I going to say? And let's see. And then ended up losing the game. Oh, stop! Oh, no!
Is that the Chapman game? Where he gave up a grand slam to Jared Walsh.
Why did you remind me?
Is that where he gave up the grand slam to Jared Walsh?
He's talking about that game. Oh, Christ.
I was in fucking shock watching that game.
Wasn't there like a rain delay?
There might have been. I'm not too sure.
Oh, God. That had to be one of my least favorite games.
I was like, no.
Field of Dreams, that one.
And I was on the PlayStation mic, and our friend was like, "No, you had one job."
Jared Walsh, he's a good hitter, though. I think.
Yeah, he
has been. There's a couple other guys in the Angels. Let's see. I mean, Velasquez is hitting 203, so that died down. Taylor Ward's a good hitter.
So, let me add in some of the notes from the article. The Yankees analytics department was convinced that Gallo would be a perfect fit for Yankee Stadium short porch. Even with the history of strikeouts and low batting average, Gallo has a monster in the waiting, with home runs only 314 feet away, excuse me. But Cashman's brainiacs had no data to support the notion that Gallo was emotionally equipped for the Big Apple. Again, emotional. This is no such metric. That's the fatal flaw of numbers-only evaluation. One executive told me the Yankees were making a mistake assuming Gallo would fit in. Nice guy. He's not cut out for the kind of pressure, is what he was told. The warning couldn't have been more prescient, or prescient, or whatever he just fucking used. The higher the stakes, the faster Gallo shrivels. If Cashman sees it, you can bet Aaron Boone does too. He dropped Gallo to ninth in the order over the weekend, sending a clear message, not just to the struggling slugger, but to the general manager as well. Of course, Boone tried to soften the blow by insisting he values the bottom of the order, but no one was expected to believe that. Truth is, Gallo is working his way down the ladder to success. If the playoffs started today, it'd be hard to believe that Gallo would be anywhere except the bench. Both Cashman and Boone are conflicted, though. Remember, in accepting the analytics department, their assurance that Gallo was the right guy to acquire, Cashman traded 4 prospects to the Rangers, 2 of whom are already with the big league club.
And they're doing well. Glenn Otto's doing well. Josh Smith was hitting the cover off the ball the other day.
And Boone is like the rest of his players who happen to think of highly of Gallo personally. He's earnest and hardworking, touching narrative, but it's intruded upon by a harsh reality.
Here's what I have to say about that.
Sonny Gray 2.0.
More more mental, I would say a little bit. I'm gonna say that, like once again, we're not talking off season. We're just stating facts here. And listen, we're happy our team is in first place. I don't know why I have to clarify that because people will rip all positive vibes only, right? But in the respect of Gallo, I didn't like the trade last year, and I made a video on it actually yesterday. I didn't like the trade. I didn't know why they traded for Gallo. I don't know why they saw it as a fit, and even that, I didn't know just necessarily. I didn't even know about the mental state. I didn't know he had a tick. I didn't even start noticing that honestly till this year. And I think that's a lot of people started realizing it when the helmets and stuff like that. He was the S cam, which was really weird. So there's that. Draftneck Mark obviously says we decimated our farm system. Go fuck yourself, dude.
Let me just ask, what is your final solution for Gallo and Hicks? Are you trading them both or are you DFAing them?
I have a solution at the end. People, there's a weird group of people. There's a friend of mine who also thinks of the same mentality on YouTube, and I don't understand it. When you come to the Big Apple, you are expected to produce. I think was it Frank Sinatra said it in his song that we all play at the end of wins, not losses, because I don't know why they do that. Also, it's just a common phrase. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. New York, right? So I don't get this like small-minded mentality of, the fan base shouldn't be pressuring him. And I'm not saying anyone's saying that. But for example, let's take it into two other different sports for a second. Kayvon Thibodeau. I know everyone's everyone's hyped up about him. And he's got the gloss of, a New York personality. While you do have a small portion of the New York Giants fan base that says, do not put the pressure on him.
Right.
Once again, when you come to New York and when you are valued at that high level, high stakes, you are expected,
especially as the fifth overall draft pick.
Yeah. And listen, Gallo was because it's not like IKF where you could have high expectations, but you could also have low expectations. Gallo was expected to come in here and somewhat produce offensively.
He was the number one option with the Rangers. He saw a bit. He was going to get. It's interesting because it's the mentality changes. You look at everybody wanted to walk Gallo in Texas because he was the number one option. Now everybody wants to attack him, and then he strikes out. He's not that number one option anymore.
Yeah. Jay Schmeezy. Shout outs to Anthony. What's going on, my man? Jay Schmeezy says the draft neck idiot is always trashing the Yankees. I can't deal with him. Yeah, and you know what? I'm going to a Mets game in 13 days. So if he dares trash the Yankees on social media at any point in that day, if he's at that Mets game, I'll come up and say, fuck you, fuck your team, fuck all that shit. If they lose to the Brewers, because cheap seats down the line, pretty affordable. So, go to our first Mets game. But also, Luca, I know you're bigger into basketball than I am. Julius Randle.
Yeah.
What do you think, going off of last year? Well, they really because the finals have not ended, so I still say this year. But last year in the COVID season, think some of his success was due to the fact that there were no fans in the stadium.
Exactly. That had a lot to do with it. Had a lot to do with Julius Randle's success. No fans in the stands. There's also a contract year for him. The Knicks could have easily declined his third-year option, but they didn't. Obviously, they signed him to an extension after the season. So, yeah, it's some players are just not meant for New York. We all know that. J Happ, Sonny Gray, all you can name. It doesn't have to be Yankees players too.
Yeah, I'm sure there's Mets players that haven't handled New York. Sure, there's Nets players that haven't handled New York. I mean, we could go into that, but obviously that will be for Boys in the Big Apple. There's probably hockey players that were meant for New York. I mean, I don't know how Tony DeAngelo was. Now he was fighting Rangers players, but that's a whole different ball game. But first of all, just to cap this off, and then I'll go to my end game for this. Once again, you come to New York. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. If you can't make it here, listen, not everybody can, but it's not, I think it's just to have those expectations because
Right.
it's a big city, because there's a lot of stakes involved. As for Aaron Hicks and Joey Gallo, we'll talk about outfield options. Obviously, the obvious one's Andrew Benintendi, but I listed 3 others. If you guys can come up with outfield options in the chat, that would actually be helpful because we could do some research live on air. But with that being said, as for Joey Gallo, I would trade him to a small market team.
Well, that's kind of an obvious. You get him a fresh start, he becomes the best player
fresh start
on the team.
He's in a contract year, so it's a rental. Maybe for a team that's trying to make the playoffs, trying to push for it. I don't know what the wild card teams look like. Probably most likely National League. So, Luca, if you want to do some like researching, teams that are on the scalp of wild card, those teams that you can use an adjustment and that will be selling at the same time. Or you trade it into a rebuilding team like Kansas City, like Chicago. Chicago's in a fucking mess right now. Not the city, the team, but we all know, going back to many conversations. So I would trade him. I'm not of the belief that he doesn't have trade value. I'm not. He's got speed. It's all because of the cloud over him of the New York market. If you remove that cloud, and it's still not very high of a ceiling if we're talking about old school expectations, yeah, he'll still if a team maybe gets him to steal bases more, that could be something. He could be a pinch runner. His outfield, maybe he goes back to a Gold Glove award. He hits home runs. He starts walking again. Maybe hits it like 210 best, which is honestly where I see him at. So once again, I think it's just that New York cloud, but I don't think he's total trash. I don't think it's we gotta release him right away. No, I don't think it's that.
I gotta disagree. I don't think he has value. I think he torched it.
Really?
Yeah. I don't think Gallo or Hicks has value.
I agree with Hicks. I don't agree with Gallo. I think Gallo still has. Now, to be fair, though, if Gallo does not have value, that's honestly on Brian Cashman. I mean, once again, we're not going to go on this song and dance again, but it is the truth. It's on him because, you could have gotten, something for a player, and they were possibly trying to trade him to the Brewers, to the Padres, to the Braves.
Padres might be really interested in him.
If that's the case, trade him. So, I mean, look up this guy's stats, and he's not really on our list because I think he struggled this year a little bit. Adam Frazier. Because I'm pretty sure he could play outfield as well.
Frazier's hitting 259, which is a little under my expectations. 2 homers, 24 runs, 17 RBIs, a stolen base, 50 hits, and 193 Bs. On base percentage of 325. I'd say an underperforming year for him a little bit.
I just wonder what his contract situation looks like. I just wonder, would it possibly change if he comes here? I mean, it's kind of like a Clay Holmes situation if you think about it. He does well in Pittsburgh. San Diego was a little bit of a disappointment. I know we heard from a friend of ours. Then he goes to Seattle. It's not very good. It's very underperforming. Seattle's just underperforming as a team. I thought they were going to do good. And then maybe he comes to New York and, in the right situation, who wants a right fielder that hits 170? Trust me, there possibly are buyers. I know it's crazy to think, but I think there's buyers. Trust me, maybe there's not. I could be wrong, but, I still think that a team could take him and turn him into what he once was. Longhard Shepard says, also shouts Jared Miller. Thanks for popping in. Longhard Shepard says the Pirates should get Gallo. They have Brian Reynolds. They have, I don't know what their other outfielders look like. But he's on a 1 year. So would that make much sense? And I don't know how old Joey Gallo is. I mean, he may be close to his 30s, maybe not.
Here's what they have. So in center field, Brian Reynolds. In right field is Jack Suwinski.
The fuck is that?
In left field is Tucupita Marcano.
I don't know who are they. How about this? Are they any good?
I'm assuming this is all through the farm. Although Sawinski was not drafted by the Pirates, he was actually drafted by the Padres. Let me see how they got necessarily. They traded. Sawinski and Marcano were traded in the Adam Frazier trade.
Interesting. How are they doing?
Let me see here. Sawinski, 97 ABs. He's hitting 186.
7 ABs. Ill.
Marcano is hitting 353 and 17 ABs, so it's a little short sample size. I don't know if Cole Tucker's injured or whatever. Maybe that's the case.
How old is Joey Gallo?
Let's see. Gallo is 28.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if you're the Pirates. I don't know whether I would take that on. Maybe they do, but I would welcome that. I would welcome that. Swing Class says there are about 17 teams below 500 ball right now. This is not a very good league right now. There's a plethora of places to trade Gallo to, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, listen. Obviously, it's unfortunate that we only have 13 teams above 500 ball, which basically means you have one or two good teams in the division. And I'm trying to think off the top of my head right now. The best division is the AL East and the NL West. Outside of that, I think you have one. Actually, then again, third would be the AL West because you have two over 500 teams. Then I think it's just one per division.
NL Central, it's Milwaukee and the Cardinals above 500. Milwaukee obviously leading the division 32-19. St. Louis 28-21, 3 games back in the division and half game out of the wild card. As you said, the West looks fine. Not really much to say either. The Central's terrible outside of the Twins. So,
yeah, I could see someone trading for him. Also, the AL set. How does the AL Central look again?
The AL Central.
The Twins is at the top. I know that.
White Sox, Indians, Tigers, Royals, all below 500.
White Sox. What record?
23 and 24.
So, they have been hitting the. What was I going to say? If he was a utility guy, I could see it maybe. Yeah, I see your point, but once again, we'll have to see in about 2 months actually with the trade deadline. They've been hitting the Dodgers as well. Bro, my dream is if somehow in hell we could get Ben Joyce from the Tennessee Vols after Chicago White Sox, he would dominate in any league. I haven't done my research, but I'll take a look. Wampag, shout out to you, man. Bad Gallo 9th, no matter who is out of the lineup. And yes, I'm still on the trade Gallo train. I do think Hicks brings more. Yeah, I honestly do. Because the average, and this is why numbers are skewed. That's why you can literally, I would say, have any argument and then say, okay, the numbers are invaluable in this argument. Aaron Hicks has a better batting average, but in the lineup, it just flows better.
Better without him.
Yeah. And once again, we're still on the Gallo trade train, but just for sake, last night, whole offense is hitting 2 for 3, I believe he was. So you can't, and in that situation, I don't think Aaron Hicks would have had much success. It's different. Also, he had a walk. So that adds to the plethora of things that are about Joey Gallo. Joey Gallo, we could say, oh, well, the New York market hovering over the head and the tick and stuff like that and whatever. Yeah, we could say that. But College World Series. Yep, I kind of thought that he was in college. But Aaron Hicks just looks like he doesn't give 2 fucks. Like, he slams the helmet. He does all this shit.
He wants to go play golf, Alex. That's his real endeavor in life.
You know what? If he wants to play golf, then Gary Sheffield Jr. should invite him.
I don't know.
What do you mean? What do you mean you don't know? I'm going to propose that to Chef tonight. I said, look, Luca said that Aaron Hicks is interested in playing golf. Why don't he start out with you?
What is work his way up to be the next Tiger Woods?
No, he's not going to be that good. If he can't swing a baseball bat. I mean, golf ball is smaller. Then again, he has to learn his new. Then again, I feel like Hicks is a golfer in his spare time.
Would Hicks be good with the Staten Island Ferry Hawks? I mean, they're a shit team.
Oh God damn. How many? I want to actually like. There's a few major leaguers on that team. Like Julio Teheran was once decent as a pitcher.
Casey, was it one of the Clemens sons?
It's not Cody or Casey. It might be
Casey Clemens.
And you know what fucking sucks is that Roger Clemens was in Bay Ridge a few days ago, and I fucking missed it. Nobody told me about it.
Neither. Nobody told me either.
I could have met Roger Clemens, but no, nobody told me about it. Fucking, how many men play on that team? Sorry, had to do it. I think one or two women play on that team. But then again, like they and I was given the whole thing of, oh, they're just starting out, but I'm like, dude, they suck as a ball club. And I understand. Listen, you look at sports franchises, and the Rockies weren't a good team when they started out. The Rays, I don't think, were a good team when they started out with Larry Rothschild, which many people don't know, by the way. Look at other expansion teams; they're not good, but also in the Atlantic League, like, and then their managers trying to be Joe Judge all of a sudden, because if any of you know, like the story is that going back a few weeks ago, there was a guy who was Luca. Can you explain the story? Like probably better than I can.
What story is that?
Edgardo Alfonso trying to be Joe Judge.
Okay, so this one guy showed up late to a photo shoot for the team, and his manager texted him. I don't think he got the message. I don't think the player got the message when he was on the train. So he's like, "Oh, you're late," and the guy says, "Can you just like hold on a minute? I want to get in the picture." Because I didn't get your message, and he's like, "You know what? You're always late." And then he just started the manager started a whole argument. Obviously, eventually the guy left the team.
And you know what? You could have. I am for players like being disciplined and then held accountable. But dude, you fucking beside being a big leaguer, dude, you're a manager. Was a manager for the Brooklyn Cyclones, and then now you're a manager for the Ferry Hawks. Like you have no bounds. Like you have no record to say anything. Jared, yes, Pete is going live. Game season, meet Pete, and looks like Chef Jr. Hicks always looked like he doesn't want to play at all. Yeah, I mean, that's just basically the thing with him. He looks like he doesn't want to play. And that's the problem. That's why I dislike Hicks, though the stats are somewhat better. Gallo has somewhat of a reason. Like, so we can see it. Hicks just doesn't fucking care. He's not making adjustments, and Gallo isn't either, but he's not making adjustments, and he is who he is. Hopefully, we don't see Hicks play 100 games like, hold on, we got to do this. Well, maybe I'm pointing the wrong side, but hopefully we don't see 100 games like Luca predicted.
Yeah.
Just want to see if I miss anything. Joyce will be worth the draft pick even for one solid year in a postseason run. Yeah. I mean, I don't know much about the guy. I told you that. But I'll do some research, and they should flourish through the system. Like he should flourish through the system pretty quickly. I mean, I know the Yankees love their prospects, but we'll see how this guy comes about. We'll see, I guess, who comes about. How he ranks among the prospects. Body language says it all for Hicks. Yeah, pretty much. Can we put Chef or Pete on the roster to replace Gallo Hicks? Put anybody.
Anybody would do better.
I mean, if we got any short people in here, I'm only 5'8", so I'm very short. That you'll see that on NYY News TV Day on June 25th.
You're not 5'8".
How the fuck can you tell me what my height is?
You're 5'6" or 5'7". I'm the one that's 5'8".
Well, who cares?
I'm taller than you, idiot.
You know what? It's not that violence. Anyway, that's you know what? That's an act of violence right there. That's an act of violence.
You Oscar Mercado now?
Yes, I'm Oscar Mercado now. But anyway, I'm a short guy, so technically you could get more walks and you get on base more than Aaron Hicks does.
All you got to do is just bend your knees.
Yeah, all you got to do is you got to be like what the fuck is it? David Spade. David Spade's character from Benchwarmers.
Benchwarmers.
What the hell is his name?
It's not Clark.
No. Fuck. Do that research for me. It's in the back of my head. Definitely an act of violence. Hicks seems to have lost confidence. Richie, yes. You're Richie. Or we could all be Richie. Just bend our knees like that in the one at bat and take a walk.
Don't use it like a sword. You're a sword.
And then when we have when we face Grandal, we'll actually have balls and I could say, "Oh, I tipped it. You're still out. You're still fat." So, Richie Aprile was short. Didn't matter though. Fucking. Oh my God! If Hicks is in the lineup tonight, I'm going to do my Richie Aprile impression, even though I've never watched like a full Sopranos.
Embarrassment. Absolute embarrassment.
Come here, you dumb fuck! I'll kill you. Fucking like P said, he was gonna run onto the field and chase Hicks
with a little sawed-off baseball bat.
Yeah, or just like something like that. I haven't seen that movie in a while. You want to take us into our next topic?
You know what? I actually want to go off topic a little bit.
Go ahead.
Here's what I say. My statement of the day. Derek Jeter being on Twitter is one of the best things to happen on the app.
Yes.
Everybody shall agree. Everybody shall agree.
I like how he's just ordinarily roasting people. Like, oh, guess I don't have an excuse anymore. And then to that Nick Adams guy, is this you, Nick? Like that was, and then I don't know who else he roasted, but hopefully within the inner community he roasts somebody. I don't know.
Alex, why the hell did you list Tommy Pham as a trade option?
I just said just in case,
dude. He literally got suspended for fighting Josh.
I'm not
Peterson
saying he will get.
Football.
I'm just saying maybe they consider it. I'm not saying that fucking. You know what the Yankees do? I mean, hell, he could have fight. He could put a fire in the locker room. I don't know.
No, I don't want a guy who bitches.
You do know that now he blames Mike Trout because he says he's probably one of the worst commissioners out there.
It's a fantasy fucking football league. Jesus Christ! If you don't like it, leave.
Like, I don't know why we're carrying on about this. Like, why? I'm not so good. Like, people have accused me of not being a good fantasy football commissioner. Right? But but are people gonna say here on social media, Alex GP, aka Big Lou in the Bronx, is a very bad baseball commissioner, and next time I see him, I'm gonna punch him in the face? No. Yeah, probably because there's money involved, but fucking move on. Fantasy football. Like, I'm excited for football season, but you don't have to be a fucking bitch baby about it. Yes, his voice is so neat in today's world. He can be our designated puncher. Donaldson and Pham light the stadium on fire. Facing the lefty this year hasn't felt as free in years past. Yeah, I agree. I don't know if Detmers is a lefty. I think he might be a righty, but Luke, if you could do that. And it was like something that happened 2 years ago.
Detmers
fighting over fantasy.
A lefty. Detmers is a lefty.
Oh God, that means we're going to see Hicks tonight. You know that because he's good.
Good. He also threw a no-hitter this year. If you didn't know that.
Well, looks like Aaron Hicks is already 0 for 3. Might as well automatic out. It's just like if you don't have enough players and you're still willing to play, automatic out.
Alex, he draws walks. What are you doing?
What was I going to say? It's just like in Little League one time where kid got hit with a line drive right in the chest. Pitcher being that is. And then every time that kid would be batting, it was on automatic out because he had to go to the hospital. And, of course, it was like 10, 11, 12 players on the field or whatever.
Hold on a second. I don't even remember that.
Chris Conley?
He took one off the chest.
Yeah, I feel like he took one off the chest.
I don't know. I don't remember that.
You don't remember that?
I don't remember that.
That was when we were at the D-backs the first year.
I don't.
We were in the playoffs.
Obviously, he was with the Nationals.
James Adams hit him with a line drive to the chest.
I don't remember. I don't remember, but
your memory is shot.
My memory is not shot.
Oh, really? Then why don't you remember it?
Because I just don't. There's some things I just don't remember.
Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Jared says, I don't follow fantasy football. I follow football, but fantasy was just never my thing. Yeah, some people, I don't do fantasy basketball because I don't know enough about the sport. Fantasy baseball is like every day. So sometimes
every day you got to change your lineup, which is annoying. But that's how it is. It's an everyday sport.
Yeah, Luca. And then fantasy football, I won a championship last year. And then I won one 2 years ago.
It's because he rigged it for himself.
I rigged it for myself. Really? How did I rig it for myself?
Oh, please. The amount of fucking playoff teams you allow.
Is it what? Is it high?
And you rigged the fucking bye system. Come on.
Rigged what system?
I think you rigged like the bye week system or some shit. I don't know.
You can't even remember this. You're just dragging.
Yeah, I guess. I'll keep note this year when you mismanage the league and cost me a playoff spot again.
I hope I do that. Wampbag says, is Tommy Pham still going to fight Luke Voigt? I wonder. That's a good question, though. Luca, if you want to go on to our next topic.
I remember we were discussing like potential trade options for the bullpen and the starting lineup as an outfielders. Andrew Benintendi, we already went over him last week. Don't need to do it again. Ian Happ's a solid option. He's going to hit his 240, 250. Solid outfielder. High on base percentage. He's hitting 360 on base percentage for a 250 average. I think that's pretty damn good. He struggled his last couple of games. I'm not going to worry about that. Measuring over a total season. 5 homers, 26 RBIs, 39 hits, 156 AB, OPS of 770. Benintendi, we went over. Pham, 5 homers, 17 RBIs. This guy apparently fights over fucking fantasy football. We're not going to get into that. That whole thing was stupid. Bullpen, you got Andrew Chafin, who's with the Cubs, I believe, or the Tigers, right? I remember the Tigers, I think, signed him. They're not doing
well, hold on. Let's keep outfield separate from bullpen. So the Cubs are 20-29 for some reason, still behind the Pittsburgh Pirates. And then you have the Kansas City Royals, who are respectively last in their division at 16-32.
Right.
You believe, in all honesty, that Joey Gallo is not of value. If he is of value, which team are you trading him to, and who are you getting back? Like, I'm not trying to make mock trades because I think that's very unreasonable. But would you trade him for Happ or would you trade him for Benintendi?
Realistically, you're going to have to trade him for Happ.
How about this? I know Happ seems like it's more realistic. But go ahead and look who are the outfielders for the Royals, who are the outfielders for the Cubs. Give me 1 second. I got to blow my nose. So you keep lining up the chip.
So I realistically think that obviously Benintendi is better than Ian Happ, so that's why I think Gallo's a better fit for Chicago. They like losing over there, so they're the lovable losers for a reason. Outfielders for the Royals: Kyle Isbell, Dyron Blanco, Andrew Benintendi. For the Chicago Cubs, you have Clint Frazier, Ian Happ, Rafael Ortega, and Nelson Velasquez. Remember, Clint Frazier is kind of a starter over there. I'm just curious to look up Clint Frazier's stats.
He's horrible. He's like 186.
20. He hasn't. I don't think he's a starter just by looking at his stats. Like I don't think he actually starts games. 28 ABs, 214. Yeah.
20 ABs, 214. Yeah. I thought it was much worse, but yeah. And then you said it's Happ, it's Frazier. How's Ortega doing?
Rafael Ortega this season, 243, 2 homers, 7 RBIs, and 115 ABs, 4 stolen bases. So
what's his average again?
243, 346
Not
OBP.
bad. Probably the second best outfielder. And then for Kansas City.
Kansas City, you got Kyle Isbell, you got Andrew Benintendi, you got Diamond Blanco.
What are two other outfielders?
Isbell is hitting 274 with a 292 on base percentage. So, to be fair, that's a little skewed. For Diamond Blanco, right-handed hitter, 7 ABs. So not much. You know, he made his debut recently in big leagues. So,
and the other guy you said was hitting 293 and how many ABs?
I never said 293.
Whatever it was.
274, 292 OBP. That's kind of skewed.
But I'm saying, like, how many at bats?
70 something.
Okay, so we've had a sample size, but it's gonna be interesting. Rochelle is doing pretty good too. Gary Sanchez is leading the Twins in RBIs this year. Once again, I mean, listen, I fucking despised Gary Sanchez when he was here.
Good God.
I will give him credit though. I think he's better than Aaron Hicks this year. Like, I'm not saying that, Gary Sanchez on
you'll get
that's
more
obvious.
Sanchez.
That's obvious. But Gary Sanchez here, at least he had streaks. Aaron Hicks hasn't had a streak in 30 fucking years.
Feels like 30 years.
Yeah, no, it has been 30 years. I'm aging. I'm getting old. Last time I did fantasy football, 2013, I had Peyton Manning, Antonio Brown, T.Y. Hilton, and Julius Thomas. T.Y. Hilton, Jesus Christ. I didn't think he went back that far, but well, he's been pretty injured over the last few years. Yeah, that looks like a pretty good fucking lineup. He doesn't fit a roster, but I'm happy for him. You know, listen, look, I'm not. He does what he does over there. I don't look at like other teams' success, and I don't look at like other different players like, oh, well, we should never trade Urshela. We should never do this. We should never. I hate those type of people. I'm not saying you are, but listen, if you want to be happy for a player, be happy for a player elsewhere. Listen, we all have our favorites that are on other teams, right? Mike Trout would be one. I have a T-shirt of his. I know a lot of people would obstruct against that. I've several. David Wright was probably one of my favorite guys growing up that are not on the Yankees. There's a couple other players. Maybe I just had a thing for injury-prone players, like Mike Trout's injury-prone, David Wright's injury-prone, Mark Teixeira's injury-prone. Mark Teixeira graduated Georgia Tech a couple of days ago, though, so shout-outs to him, my favorite player of all time. Though I got to decide who is a favorite, who is more meaningful to me. Mark Teixeira or Eli Manning? Because Mark Teixeira was my first favorite athlete, and then Eli, he's just a kindred spirit.
I don't know.
Well, yours is Jeter of all time, so that's pretty much a done dead conversation. Hicks has hitless streaks, yeah, and you know what? He could probably put one in the Guinness Book of World Records for being how fucking trash he is. But let's move on to the bullpen. There's something I do want to get to. I think I have it listed. Actually, I don't, but I'm going to put the link in the doc so you could go through it. Apparently, Michael King's alleged struggles have been due to catcher's pitch comm calls, not his. So
does he understand he's allowed to,
I put it in the doc, so if you want to click on it and read through it.
No. Does he not understand that he can, what's the word I'm looking for here? He can he can overrule the catcher. The catcher doesn't take him in, he can. That's a dumb excuse. That's a dumb excuse, in my opinion.
Just read into it just in case. I'll answer some questions. Wow. Anthony says, hey, guys, in your opinion, how long do the Yankees stick with Hicks playing? Because he's just hurting the team and is an automatic out whenever he comes up to bat. I think by September, and listen, maybe I'm wrong. I don't think they'll trade for two outfielders. That will put the Yankees in a conundrum. I think they'll definitely get either Benintendi or Happ or something small that fits better than what's his face, Joey Gallo. So it might be Andujar, Happ, Judge, and then rotate Stanton in. That could be a possibility. With that being said, I say I give Hicks probably early September, late August vibes. is like how they will eventually, in my opinion, try to bench him. Unfortunately, it has not worked because I feel like they keep rotating in the lineup like it's going to work for some reason. I don't think it's going to, but I'm just trying to base myself on what the Yankees are thinking and what not, what not what I'm thinking. Hicks won't get taken off the team, but Gallo can probably become a utility guy off the bench until they get someone consistent in the left field and maybe a fill-in for Hicks to switch out when Hicks sucks. Hicks isn't going anywhere unless they come to the conclusion he's hurt. Yeah, he ain't hurt. Unfortunately, he just doesn't give a shit. So it's probably gonna be a DFA and a release. They DFA. Nobody knows this. It seems like, but no, they DFA'd him in 2016. Then they optioned it. They got brought him back in 2017. Then they signed the extension like 2 years later. But I think that's just the path they should go. This experiment shouldn't take much longer, unfortunately, well, in my opinion. But we'll see how long the Yankees carry on to it. And you do have your weird options though, because like Florial, I'm still not sold on him as good of a minor leaguer he is. I'm still not sold on him. I'm not sold on Andujar full time, though he could be a full time. I'm not sold on him being a full time. Marwin Gonzalez is a utility guy. I mean, everybody was hyping him in the spring, and listen, he had a good spring. After all, that's why he made the roster. But he's a utility guy. He's a depth guy. And, how many positions he plays, you can't really replace that. And then you're pretty much done from there. Gallo, Hicks, we already talked about. You have anything like to note from that article, though?
I didn't really check it out. It just doesn't make any sense why. I don't think it's just such a moot point. Such a moot point to go over.
A moot point. That's an interesting one. But let me ask you this, and I'll ask the chat as well, because obviously our discussions are open to the chat. Do you think the Yankees get an arm at the deadline like last year? Do you think they stick with their guys, hoping for some sort of a resurgence?
I'm hoping they get an arm. They need reinforcements.
Okay, but what do you think they will do?
I said they get one arm. I'm thinking they'll get at least one.
Okay, we'll go over the options in a minute. But do you think some of the struggle, and I obviously mentioned Mike King, and, obviously you're not happy with the moot point and excuse, but do you think it's possibly been maybe Trevino's the catcher, and, he was more familiar last year with Kyle Higashioka?
It doesn't matter, though. I'm so tired of this, bullshit. You should get used to your catcher. If you pitch to Trevino more often, you get to know him and all this other stuff. Just why are you blaming the fucking catcher? So stupid. You take control. You can do a simple nod of the head, no. Okay? When you get the pitch come, you nod the head no. The catcher just goes to another signal. Or you go on the mound and you talk about it. It's not hard.
Yeah, but what if he feels it's time consuming?
Alex, I don't know. I honestly don't know. It's such a stupid argument. Just pitch better. How about that? Pitch better.
Damn. We got 30 likes in here. Thank you, guys. I have a feeling that Carpenter's going to compete for Marwin's spot. I think Marwin's better. Like Carpenter could play second. He can play first.
Back up. You think Marwin's better?
Yes.
Why? Because he's more
versatile. Why? He plays more positions.
Okay, I guess. But
who gives a shit? He people talk like what? Okay, let's start this out. What's your argument?
I guess fine. As a versatile player, Gonzalez.
Who is a better player?
As a versatile player, Gonzalez is better. Carpenter can play all around the infield, but I think Carpenter's a better hitter and asset for this offense. That's what I say.
I still think Marwin's better.
Okay.
Yeah, fucking Carpenter provides the home runs. He's hitting 154 right now. Gonzalez.
Alex, you know how many games he's played with the Yankees? Exactly. That's a stupid argument.
I'm just I'm stating facts. It's a fact. Whether you can skew it or not, that's a thing. But Marwin is, I feel, what this team needs in a bench player.
Yeah, that's what we need off the bench. Less pop.
If you actually trade for an outfielder and keep Andujar on the bench, you don't have that problem.
All right, fine. Then trade for an outfield. That's what I say.
Carpenter is a poor man's DJ. I like that point. What was I going to say? I like Carpenter. Marcos C. Shouts to you, man. Says I like Carpenter, but Marvin can play any position. Is an average hitter when proven. Again, Carpenter is not playing a couple games. I still trust Marwin. Yeah, and listen, Marwin's not the guy he was like 5 years ago. He was on fire 5 years ago. Astros and a couple of the teams and whatever. But with that being said, I just feel like he's better at this state of his career than Carpenter is, and he's more valuable to the Yankees. And Carpenter's, he had some good numbers, and I think it was Round Rock with Texas. He had some good numbers, but he was spent more time in the minor leagues than Gonzalez did. I think he was a depth player last year, Gonzalez. I think he was for the Red Sox or some other team. But, he found his way on a major league roster. Unfortunately, Carpenter didn't. Carpenter last year actually played for the Cardinals, but, that was a ticking time bomb. Let's see. Their best option, Montas, in terms of performance recently. They need a relief pitcher, maybe a starter. I think they're good on starters. I didn't think I would say that, but they are good on starters. If they want,
you could always add more.
Yeah, okay. You could always add more. A 6th starter, maybe.
Just makes your rotation better.
It does. 6-man rotation. I don't see a problem with it, but will the real question is not what we think, but are the Yankees going to go out there and make the move for something they may not see as valuable? But in terms of relievers, if you want to go over the options, Andrew Chafin is the first one out of Detroit. That's what I know.
Pitched really well last year for the Cubs. Obviously, was signed by the Tigers last season. 0-1, 3.09 ERA, 12 strikeouts in 11.2 innings, 1.29 WHIP, 15 games. I like him as an option. Definitely should be in consideration. Garrett Richards, veteran option. He's been around a ton of teams. Going to get into his.
He's
stats.
a lengthy guy, kind of, right?
He
I feel like he could
of everything.
I feel like he could be in the Chad Green role.
Yeah, 1-1, 4.80 ERA. 2 games started this year. Actually, he's pitching for Texas.
And listen, here's something. Now, I'm not going to go over a pitcher that has like a 10.80 ERA. Obviously, you got all the stuff there. But you look at guys like a 4, maybe even a 5 ERA. Look what Mac Blake has done to relievers. Clay Holmes. I mean, that's just Loaiziga
his
last
opposing
year.
average is actually 216, so that's not terrible.
No, it's not. But you have to take it with a grain of salt. Like Matt Blake has transformed the relievers. Loaiziga last year, Clay Holmes this year, even Clay Holmes last year. So, you just have to take it with a grain of salt a little bit. But, it doesn't mean it doesn't work for everybody, though, because Andrew Heaney was a fucking abomination. Terrible. Anyway.
Michael Fulmer, 2-2, 2.89 ERA, 19 games, a save, 18 strikeouts, and 18 2/3 innings. Obviously, we once knew him as a very good starter. Now he's turned into a reliever, which is.
I don't think they'll try. I put that option in the doc, but I don't think they'll trade him because I feel like they're at that midpoint of. But down here is the rebuild, up here is the championship kind of contender. So I feel like they're mid.
182 opposing average, 9 walks in 18 innings. Maybe that's a little concerning because that's about like half. 9's obviously half of 18. Mike Cal Givens, I think he's pitching for. I want to see that he is pitching for the Cubs. Yes,
it'll be a sidearm.
4-0, 2.75 ERA. He joined Miguel Castro's former teammate. 1 save, 27 strikeouts in 19 innings. I really like this option.
Yes, maybe you do a double trade. Well, not a double trade, but like a package deal.
Yeah, definitely. That should definitely be in the works.
Givens, you trade Gallo and a couple other guys in the farm.
7 walks.
Not too many though, because like Happ is not a guy you're giving up Anthony Volpe for, but maybe a guy like I don't know Sweeney.
7 walks, 19 innings, 16 hits, 27 strikeouts. So he's clearly getting.
What's his opposing average?
219.
Again, not bad.
Next guy on the list is Scott Oberg. I've heard of him.
He's got a very good record for a relief pitcher.
So does Givens. Givens is 4-0. Scott Oberg 6-1, 2.25 ERA, 5 saves, 56 innings, and 58 strikeouts, 49 games. That's 2019. Excuse me. He has not pitched in. Let me see. He's not pitched in a while, Alex.
Oh shit!
Might be a dud on you.
That's a dud. That isn't a complete dud. Fuck. I take blame for that. But is there any more options?
No, you listed all of them.
So Givens would be a nice package with Ian Happ. Fulmer maybe, but once again, I don't know if they're selling. He's on you know why I listed him? Now that I think about it, he's on a contract year. So maybe they'll resign him, maybe. I would think they would because he's good. What's the dude's name? Chafin. I think they should take him in. Like, he'd be better than Lidge. He'd be better. You know, Wandy has his moments.
He's not really used him Wandy this year, so I can't really. I don't know.
There's like only 2 pitchers I can trust in the pen right now. There's Clay Holmes and there's Clark Schmidt. So, with that being said, let's see any comments. Not recently, but with that being said, Luca, you want to go through your final thoughts?
Good talk all around. Talking about bullpen options. Yankees splitting the series against the Rays. Not really happy about that, but it is what it is. Hopefully, we take the series against the Angels. They're a formidable foe. Who we got after the Angels? The Twins?
Take a look at that right now. It's Yankees schedule. I believe it is the Twins, but let's double check. No, Tigers at home. Then we go to Minnesota.
Then we go to Minnesota. Take the series from the Tigers. Maybe even sweep. You should have swept them last time. But yeah, let's keep this. Let's keep our lead in the AL East. Don't falter. Hopefully, we get guys back. Don't use the injury excuse. Let's play ball. Let's play ball.
Yeah. Hopefully the Yankees take this series, take the next one, maybe even sweep the Tigers. Clark has pitched as many innings as Chapman with a .86 ERA. If he got more pitching time, maybe he's an all-star, but obviously we're not there yet. Nestor should be an all-star, though. Maybe next episode we'll talk about potential all-stars for this team. With that being said, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on post notifications so you know when live chat is live with Pete, or the podcast is live, or game season, which is tonight with me, Chef. And Pete, I'll ask Chef if he wants to take Aaron Hicks on a golfing trip. 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. Be sure to do that. June 25th, buy your tickets if you haven't already. June 25th, Yankee Stadium. A lot of free food that comes with a ticket. And, of course, you get to hang out with us all day. I don't think I'm missing anything as of right now. I might be, but I'll think of it maybe at a later time when I put it in chat or something like that. Anyway, guys, we appreciate you for tuning into another live edition of the Twinbill podcast. We'll be back next Wednesday, presuming that we are live and nothing interrupts. We appreciate you guys, and we will see you later. I'll see you guys on game season. Peace out.
Later, guys.
Before it hits the front page.